Hey guys, this is Tierlis here. This is another Warlords of Draenor beta video. This is my introduction to the class videos that will describe abilities that have been removed, abilities that have been changed, and level 100 talents that have been added to the game, as well as some spell visual redesigns and changes that Blizzard has implemented into the beta that will be present in Warlords of Draenor. The goal of this video is to go over some things that will be I'll be discussing in those class videos that I don't want people to feel left out of, and they should know prior to watching those videos. And it's just a few of them. There's only about 4 items that I need to cover. I would also like to describe how the videos will come out. I'm going to be doing the videos in separating them by DPS, healing, and tanking, and that is because healing and tanking each themselves have kind of gotten an overhaul. Healing always gets an overhaul, and tanking has changed a bit. So I'll be doing those in their own videos, and then the DPS will be done in their own videos. So for instance, a Boomkin will have a Guardian video, a Resto video, and then they will have a video for both Feral and Balance together. So the gameplay that you're seeing in the background is some Shadow Moon Valley gameplay. Otherwise, let me go ahead and explain these things that you will need to know for the upcoming class videos that I'll be producing. First is the itemization changes that have been brought into the game. There have been some stats that have been removed from the game, and new stats have been added. Mostly I just want people to be aware of this. It's not a huge gameplay changer, so I'm not going into the specifics of it. It's not something that really, is changes how the feel of the class is, but it is something that everyone should be aware of because it does have some changes. It changes some masteries on some classes, etc. So it's something that I want people to be aware of. Next item I want to talk about is stat squish and player health. Blizzard, since about midway Wrath of Lich King, has been getting, their stats have been getting exponentially larger and larger, as opposed to linearly larger that it was before midway through Wrath of the Lich King. As such, we were starting to get health pools over 1 million, and then if we kept with it with Warlords of Draenor, we would have had health pools that were in the 2 and 3 millions, and it's kind of mind-boggling to sit there and try and figure out, the exact numbers that someone has when the stats are so through the roof. So the idea of the stat squish was to bring everything down to a manageable level. As you can see in the gameplay going on, the numbers that I'm hitting with for a level 90 are pretty low. I mean, it almost looks like Burning Crusade type numbers at level 90, which is good. And by the time you hit level 100, they should look more kind of like Wrath of the Lich King-esque numbers. So I wanted to put that out there. The second thing that I wanted to say about that, the stat squish, is that player health pools were doubled. Doesn't matter if it happened after or before. Player health pools were doubled. So if you have a base pool of 500k health right now, your health pool will be doubled to 1 million, and then your stats will be squished down. Now the reasoning for that is kind of twofold. There is a healing reasoning behind that I won't get into. I'll get into in the healing video. But as far as PvP is concerned, it really reduces the amount of globaling a character to pretty much from 100 to 0. It kind of slows down the PvP combat to some degree, but in essence it will still end up evening out the same because healing has been changed to compensate for that. But it has had an overall change on how PvP combat will seem in the game. I personally feel it's for the better, and you will notice it once you actually get patch 6.0 live. It actually feels a lot better. It feels more like Wrath of Lich King Burning Crusade PvP, which I think is much better than what we have right now. The next thing I want to talk about is ability pruning, and this is ability pruning on a large scale. I will be talking in each class video about specific abilities that have been removed from the class, but on a large scale you should know that DPS cooldowns as a whole have really been kind of eliminated. They've kind of limited classes to 1, maybe 2 DPS cooldowns, and this really affects some classes. Classes like, for instance, a Rep Paladin that had all those offensive DPS cooldowns, they're no longer going to be able to stack stuff anymore. I don't think that you will see a many one-shot back rows anymore, just because of how they've changed how DPS cooldowns work now. A lot of them sometimes are tied together. You can't cast this while you cast this, and so they've changed that across the board with all of the classes. The last thing that I need to explain is the reduction of caster mobility. Hunters are the only class in the game now that can kind of do their full rotation on the move. All the other classes have had their mobility as a caster reduced in some effect. The reason behind this was also twofold. One was in PvE, and that was to allow, mechanics like, stuff on the floor actually mean something again. People would just continually just run out of stuff and it wouldn't mean anything. Now you have to decide, okay, do I want to continue doing DPS for a little bit and take a little bit extra damage, or do I want to move out of that and avoid that damage? So that's kind of the PvE effect it has. I think it will be really good for PvE. The PvP effect it has is the fact that since about Wrath of the Lich King, melee classes have been getting more and more, mobility breakers, abilities to break out of immobilization effects. And to compensate for that, casters have been getting more and more abilities to keep casting while on the move and to stay away from melee. And so they're scaling back on all of that. They're making casters more turret, they're making melee more susceptible to actually getting frozen in place and stuff. So it's more of a return to the Wrath of the Lich King kind of Burning Crusade type of PvP feel, which I think was a lot better anyway, so that will be a good thing. Those were the main things that I needed to go over before we got into the player introduction, the class introduction videos, so I will jump straight into them. I'm probably going to be going in order from when I got characters to max level, so the first video that you will see will be, I believe, a druid. So with that being said, I will see you in the druid video. Tierlis out. See ya.